Garten of Banban has a very extensive soundtrack at this point. It's had its highs and its lows, but I'd say it's pretty darn good. Mostly because they've had pretty darn good composers working on it. But I do have my issues with some songs, so I'm ranking the OSTs today. And, the order in which they are in the rows will not matter. This has probably been the hardest I have had coming up with how I'm going to rank these. Just because of how different each song is. Here's kind of the main points of the soundtrack. When I'm ranking the soundtrack, I'm going for vibe. Does it fit the vibe it needs to be? Does it fit into the story? Does it fit into narrative? Is it creepy? Is it exciting if it's chase sequence? Does it fit the environment and the areas it's used in? For main menu music, I'm also looking for it will kind of give off the vibe of what you're about to experience when you play through the game. So if the game's a bit creepier, it should be creepy. If the game's like really over the top and exciting, it should be exciting. And if it's just wacky, main menu music should be wacky. So with all that in consideration, let's begin with the main menu theme from the first game, which is going in C tier. It's simple, calm, kinda haunting, and it fits the game, but it's very bland and repetitive. There's not much to it. So it makes for a kind of like middle of the ground ranking. Banban's music box, A tier. Great, eerie music box that fits the tone of the main menu and for the monologue at the end. There's a sense of mystery or unease. And it's great, and it is a great background song for Banban's final monologue and discussion towards the player. Overall, it's pretty good. Mother's Wrath, F tier. It does not create a good action panic feeling, it's super repetitive, and just doesn't sound like good. It's also like way too techy and doesn't feel like it fits the character. The Twisted One, same reasons as the Mother's Wrath. It creates a decent enough feeling panic, but doesn't even have a good loop. Two-Headed Battle, D tier. It doesn't feel like a boss song, it's too calm, but there is a wow atmosphere which kind of fits the animal feeling of Tomataki and Shamataki. Next up we have Jelly Melody, which is our first S tier. It's mysterious, there's a tone of adventure and solemnness in it, which fits Garten of Banban 3 and Singer Flynn really well. Familie, Feud, the chase theme for the Hellish Banban chase. It's action-ish, but it's too techy and build-up than actually frantic chase and excitement. Like, it feels like it's building up to the chase and not, like, crazy over-the-top chase. You know what I mean? Pancreas. S tier, a song with a grand yet mysterious feel, and this sets the tone for Garten of Banban 3. Garten of Banban 3 being the one that embraces a bit more of the silly, a bit more of the grand, and still having some mystery aspects, which I think is very important. Then we have Rivals, the car song, which is going in B tier, don't hurt me. It's a good song that connects Garten of Banban 3, but it's too much rap for my taste. I don't like rap. That's it. That's the entire reason it's in B tier. Next up, we have Jurassic Meow, which is B tier. It is a great chase boss song that feels tense. The ending loop is a bit off though, and very noticeable during gameplay. So it's a nice little theme, and there could be a little bit more variety in it. Kingdom Doomed, B tier. It's a great, relaxing, medieval track that makes the kingdom feel alive, and it sets the tone perfectly from the moment the player enters. However, this song is kind of too short for how often it's heard. There's not much variety, nor is there like variation to what it is depending on where you are. Like a depressing version or something when you talk to Queen Vancelia. And you'll hear this a lot because you visit the kingdom location a lot. Friends and Imposters, B tier. It's mechanical, it's grand and sorrowful, but the grand part feels a bit off for where it's used, which is a simple minigame. But the mechanical part feels right in tone with mechanic side of the ventilation sector. Toadster Croak, B tier. Lots of B tiers. It's a great chase theme, and it's exciting, but that middle section is a bit repetitive. It just kind of sounds samey in there. Fire in the Woods is A tier. It's sorrowful and kind of secluded in the way it sounds. It's great for the dream it's in, where Singer Flynn rants about his sorrows. Nothing is funny enough, S tier. It's calm yet sorrowful. It fits for Garten of Banban 4, which is the entry I called The Calm Before the Storm. And it fits with sorrowful backstory for all the characters that get dumped in this entry, from Sheriff Toadster to Queen Vancelia to Bitter Giggle. They all have their little sad trauma that gets dumped on the player. Little Beak and Toadstars, B tier. Significant action and building suspense theme for last action, but it's too short and it repeats a lot during the final scene. but it's great, especially during that final section as you're running away. If only the chase was exciting. Naughtified, oh boy, D tier. Look, its tech song part mixes with other technological songs in the area, specifically Royal Humor, but it's way too calming and doesn't feel wild, which a lot of this game is. You have the wildness of the naughty ones, you have like the wild natural environment locations like the Safehouse, so it fails to match the game's overall tone. And then we have the next track, Safehouse, which is A tier. It immediately creates that wild, almost tribal feel. And it isn't used in the Safehouse. It's used when you first enter, so it gives like great feeling, but feels like it should have at least have a variation of it used in the Safehouse. Fancy Leech, B tier. It's a frantic action piece, but there's a bit of a noticeable loop, very noticeable. But it's great for the minigame, a short chase. It just fits where it's used. Royal Humor. Wow. The one area it's used, which is like the little minigame jumping parkour section, it feels like it belongs there, but it's kind of repetitive, and so you'll hear it a lot. Next up we have Apex Clouds. This is kind of like that wild, grand, makes you feel small type of song. And it has that wild building towards action, which feels good for a boss fight that's ultimately like a little bit of action, a bit puzzle, but it's a bit short and repetitive, so it kind of sounds all the same. So like a little longer would have been a bit better, but it's in B tier. Price for an Audience, or Price for Audience. This is a B tier song. It's a sorrowful song that matches with Nothing Is Funny Enough and Kingdom Dooms, other two songs that have relation to the kingdom. And it's used a lot, and it has a semi-repetitive ending section. Like, the ending of it feels slightly more repetitive than everything else. Next up, we have Not Black and White, an A-tier song. Great, wild action, intense feeling. It's like all the things are around you and they're driving in, which is great because this is used for the final chase. The repeat beats are spaced out so it fits right and at different tones, and there's just enough variety to it that it doesn't feel like you're listening to the same part over and over again. Next up, Rush of a Punch, which while it's used in a side game, is used in one area. It's for the dance area with the Geranium citizens. So it is a B-tier song. It's a generic arcade piece that feels samey, but it works well enough. Like, it's ultimately used in a secondary side area that you aren't going to interact with much. The Studio. This one is also used as background for the Employee Survival Guide. It's calm and relaxing, and it fits well enough. I wish it was a bit more, like, ominous for the Employee Survival Guide's kind of toning. Next up, we have Doctor's Orders, another B tier. It's a mysterious yet grand song. Like, the mystery and the grandness of City Engine, and, like, the exciting aspects for this entry, which is really good for 7. There's a bit of a sharp cutoff at the end, and the beginning feels a techy, which doesn't really fit with, like, any, like, central location within the game. Crowded Night, S tier. Jaunty, but off-tune. There's a sense of familiarity in it that just kind of sounds a little bit wrong, and it's great for the, bar, cafe, whatever the heck this place is supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be a bar. I don't know. Floating Dreams, C tier, you're getting our buddy. It's a bit techy-like, and it feels exciting in the moments, but it's just kind of off, especially next to other pieces of soundtrack. And it's not, like, really bad where it sounds really off like these three, but it's okay. Senengeon. A tier. Great chase theme. It has a slow build in the beginning, and it turns quick and exciting. It's frantic and urgent, and there's a lot of variety in it, which really helps sell it, especially with the part where it's mostly used, which is in the Geranium baby section. You get that sudden, slowly build up, and then frantic. There's a lot of different changes, and so it's really exciting to hear. The Bitter Giggle S tier. It has similar vibes to Nothing Is Funny Enough, but it's more tragic and over the top. It feels conclusive and final. All that working together, amazing with Bitter Giggle's death, which the already sad and sorrowful part of Nothing Is Funny Enough handles. Rooftop Show, A tier. It's wild and frantic, a tiny bit repetitive, and so it has that exciting. So it's building, and it's exciting, and it's thrilling for a chase scene. But its wild and natural sounds might be connection to his header game, 6, which had the wild feeling, but honestly feel slightly out of place in 7, which has a bit more city industrial feel. Trojan Tarta, put that baby in S tier. It's the eerie theater track, slow and grand, but just off, and it makes the theater location come to life. You feel like you're there, and Trojan Tarta does a wonderful job of contributing to that feeling. I'm including the 2 trailer tracks in here, despite them not appearing in the games. I don't even remember my reasoning. But it's easy A tier. It's building up, and it's grand. There's a dramatic tone, and it seems samey, but builds off itself. So like, you have the same notes, but each note is like slightly bigger, or slightly grander. And it gives that ever-rising feeling, which feels great for the grandness of City Engine as a location and the really over-the-topness of this entry. Pop Exam! This one might not make for good background noise, but it sure does fill its job. It's an S tier. It's a tense song that builds up and creates good suspense for the section. It sounds off in a good way that makes it unsettling, so you don't feel right, and like the tension of the minigame, where you're trying to not mess up, it's just risen up because of how unsettling the soundtrack is. Next up, Full Heart for the big conversation, and it is S tier. It's a suspenseful building song, and it feels grand, but yet eerie, and just that sense of, this is it. There's a sense of dread, because if this plan doesn't work, Surdad wins, and it works really well between the 2 conversations between the 2 characters. Next up, Green Gorilla, which is going in A tier. It feels big and grand, like it's the end of a journey, which it is. It's the end of the journey of the Naughty Ones arc, it's the end of this game, and it's the part before you move into the next leg of the overarching story. And it's great for last battle, but part of it feels a little too techy, which doesn't feel right with a lot of the other tracks, but it's still pretty darn good. Next up, we're on to 0 with Seek and Hide, which is going in B tier. There's like a playful and curious tone to it. It's almost lullaby-like, but there's like a bit of like tone of like medievalness that I don't really like. I don't really know how to describe it besides the tone feeling medieval. Baby Leaps, A tier. Mysterious feeling that matches the secret that 0 answers or creates, and the tech feeling matches more with the mechanical operation locations in the Sentry. Overall, it creates a nice little vibe that fits well with what to expect in the Sentry. Deja Vu, B tier. It feels similar to Seek and Hide, but it's more mysterious and less playful. And that really fits in with you're in the centralized location that Seek and Hide was playing earlier, and you're kind of giving some of that same tone, but there's this mysteriousness and there's this knowing something's wrong with it. Especially from a player who knows that Banban isn't really fully intending well. Biggest gripe though is this song should have been used when Flumbo and Banban first meet each other in 8 instead of Knowledge Has a Price. That would have been such a good parallel. Next up, Toxic Monitoring, D. And like most of the D track songs, it doesn't fit the toning as well as it should. It's a techie song that's upbeat, but it should probably be more stressful and anxiety-inducing. Similar to Pop Exam. Slithering Horns, B tier. Building and thrilling, its wild and kind of tone matches the feral and aggressive from Mamba, but it feels a bit repetitive, almost like each individual part of the song, or each section, goes on twice as long as it should. Authority of Light, A tier. It gets that techie feeling, which matches well with the other locations, and it's mysterious, which works great because it's used in the night section, it meets when Senengeon pops up on the scene, and it's almost unsettling. It works well for all those mysterious and slightly unsettling moments. Control It, S tier. Its exciting riff makes for a thrilling final fight, and it's grand and it builds upon itself and it gets more exciting as the fight draws nearer and nearer to its end, and the tone fits well where it's used. There isn't anything like the Green Gorilla where the text aspect feels a bit off. It just sounds great. And Amnesia. This is a great song. It celebrates the entire Banban saga, and it references all aspects and feels like the theme song for the franchise, because how much it's connected to the franchise's identity, and it feels like that more than how the song Pancreas did for me so long ago. And now we're on to the most recent soundtrack, the only soundtrack to be produced by someone other than Private Hell Productions or the Euphoric Brothers, with Private Hell Productions taking over from 3 onward. Oh, and he also did Bambi's music box. But Harda Hada stepped in and did the soundtrack for Garten of Banban 8 and Deja Vu. We're starting with Ashes in the Wind, which is going in A tier. It's dreading and dramatic. It's slow, but it doesn't feel boring or repetitive, which fits well because you're going to be in this sequence for a while. And it's also a bit quieter, so it's more in the background than other songs are. Next up we have Retinal Extraction, which is an A tier. It's a bit tense, but it isn't really used in any really stressful situations. It's more used as a tone builder to make boring parts more exciting or create tension. Like in the prison, there's this tension of where you are in the plot, or the tension when you're trying to rescue Flumbo, because there's a chance that Senengeon might come back and catch you in the act. Obsession in Bloom, B tier. It is techy and a little upbeat. It fits for the minigame it's used in, which is very technologically based. I mean, it's a very technological setup. But its strange, otherworldly singing in the middle of it feels a bit off. Melodies in the Wall, A tiers. Calming, almost relaxing song that fits really well for the musical looking room, and for that little break after all the stuff that just happened, where Flumbo gets to reflect a bit, and so do you. But it's also really loud in the game for some reason, really loud. Next up is the soundtrack whose name I'm probably going to butcher. Frumoasa Noastra Familie.
Frumoasa Noastra Familie.
B tier. It's a repetitive chase scene. It sounds good and it's somewhat exciting because of the drums and the violin that makes it tense, but the almost techno trill sound in it makes it sound slightly off and not in a good way. It's kind of distracting because besides the technological machine from the minigame, the area isn't very tech heavy. It's not very futuristic feeling. Populated Stomach, B tier. Drums. It has drums, it's chanting, and there's a tribal instrument that makes for a nice tribal feel for the time you spend in the Terfanian village. But there's also a little bit of a techno section that appears a couple times in the song, and it doesn't really fit the environment at all. Borrowed Voices, B tier. It's thrilling and dramatic, but repetitive. So while it fits the tone of the section really well, it goes on way too long, and the chase is already really long and really slow. So this thing is really just being saved by the voices from Miss Miracle, and nothing else. Monkey on a Log, the Dream Sequence song. A tier. It's overly dramatic, and it has this medieval feeling, and it fits well for the dream that is a reference to Skyrim. I have really nothing to say. It's not very memorable though, because there's also plenty of other medieval songs, and so it's not S tier. Last Appointment, A tier. It's a very eerie track for the old clinic. There's scratching sounds that add on saying and on that feeling, although that goes on for a little long. There's some mechanical parts which might work with the machinery in here. That is good because the machinery is mechanical, but it's not too techy because there isn't much technological machinery, it's just traditional machinery. But it could use some sound, more medical stuff to add more to the feeling of the environment, like a faint heartbeat or some other machinery that you might hear a sound of in a medical environment. Torchbearers Wish, A tier. It's building with the wildness and the tribal toning of the area, which fits well for kind of wild feeling of Varza, who is a... Why am I blanking on this? Varza, who is a hyena. And it's tense and exciting, which is good because this is a boss fight track. And it's way too loud! In my Garten of Banban 8 playthrough video, you can barely hear me in this section because of how loud this is. This monster design is sick too. Next up, Knowledge Has a Price. C tier. The song sounds good, but I feel like there should have been 2 of this, because it sounds like a calming yet hopeful theme, which works great for its major use in the elevator scene, before you head up to confront Senengeon and Banban, because like there's a sense of hopefulness, like we're gonna confront this and we're gonna figure out what's going on, and then there's gonna be something right. Well, it's like first major use, which is when Flumbo learns out about his past, and you feel more sorrowful because this is like his entire world's just been flipped on its head. And then, like I said, it's also used one too many times, which is earlier in the game when Banban and Flumbo first meet, which should have been Deja Vu. Anyway, no more to say, which is a B tier. There's like this tense theme, and it sets like tone right for the ending scene, which is a confrontation between two sides. And it sounds a little wrong, which both works for it in setting like the uneasiness, and against it, in which I don't really like it. And what I believe is percussion doesn't jive well with the piano, so it seems like two clashing instruments a little bit, but that is mostly a little critique. Wheels of Freedom C tier. Building towards a crescendo for a thrilling action scene, which makes sense since it's used in the prison escape and it's used when Flumbo jumps off the balcony. But it has a lot of techno that makes it feel a bit more like it should be attached to gameplay. Honestly, I feel like with like the same notes, but with a different instrument, I would have gone with something like drums or a violin. Or maybe have it connect closer to Retinal Extraction, which is used alongside it in similar areas. Next up, we have Awakening of the Anti-Devil, and don't hurt me, it's a D tier. Feels too upbeat for what is the scariest entry in the series, and it's very techno and pop sounding, which ruins it again. But the string section adds great for like mystery, which is a big part of this entry because of like the mystery of Flumbo's story. What happened to him? Like, what is this past? How can he be reconciled? But that techy pop grand feeling doesn't work as well. My favorite experiment, S tier. The string tune feels sorrowful, and it's fateful yet unfortunate, which works well with the scene and Trenton's lines, which is Banban's been lied to and things aren't that great for him, and this section is when Senengeon's fate catches up to him and his destiny catches up to him, like, and so it feels almost like the early end he was scared of is finally here. Marked by the devil with the trailer theme, which is going in A tier. It feels dramatic, and unlike Search's Word, which doesn't have much lineup to the trailer, it lines up with the parts of the trailer meant for him. And so it adds for the narrative and the hunted feeling that we'll be experiencing because that is part of the main conflict of this entry. But the starting beginning feels a bit techno, which lines up with none of the environments or like really events or story beats of the game. None of the story beats are like really tech-based, except maybe AI Bitter Giggle. Hellish Entanglement, A tier. It feels wild, grand, and exciting, but it's also discoherent section, so that makes it feel uncontrollable, which adds to the nature of like the hellish, uncontrollable, feral beast. Unfortunately, it's pretty repetitive for the most of it, with the end setting up a little more with the really discoherent section, which is also only needed for the song to loop, so I don't know. And finally, Euphoric Days. It's an upbeat song that fits with the credits, because the credits songs so far have been like this upbeat. The lyrics tie in nicely with the story of Flumbo and his past, and like his history with Banban, and it's just an absolute bop. It's just a bop. I really can't say anything more than that. And so with that, this is my ranking. For all the OSTs, I have never been less confident in ranking something before, but here we go. But here it is. I did the math and I added up. Here are the ranking of each game's soundtrack. So we're going to be going from the game with the worst soundtrack is Garten of Banban has 33%, Garten of Banban 2 has 38%, Garten of Banban 3 has 58.3%, Garten of Banban 6 has a 72%, and Garten of Banban 4 has a 73.8%, Garten of Banban 0 is in third place with a 75%, Garten of Banban Anti-Devil barely beats 0 with a 75.4%, and Garten of Banban 7 has the best soundtrack in my opinion with a 77.3%. I like Garten of Banban sound, what can I say? But that is my official ranking. Thank you all so much for watching. What are your opinions on the songs? Are you just as confused by this ranking as I personally am? So let me know in the comments below. And remember to keep on banning.